realize majority of the people that are looking at this are not looking at it as Drake suing UMG. A vast majority of people are looking at this as Drake suing Kendrick because he lost. Even if Drake were to win, and it came out that Spotify and UMG did something behind the scenes to artificially inflate the importance or movement of Not Like Us, the public perception of Drake would still be you sued because you lost. So the audience is dumb? No, the audience is just uninformed. The audience don't have time to look at shit like this. The average working citizen that listens to Drake and Kendrick are looking at this like Drake sued, he lost.
Did you see that the NFL contacted Lil Wayne to possibly replace Kendrick for the Super Bowl amid the lawsuit with Drake?
That don't even sound real. They would not allow somebody to do a trailer, the trailer that Kendrick did for the Super Bowl, to then be like, oh no, last second, you know what, Wayne, he sounded like a good option, especially after that fucking performance Wayne did. Who the fuck would want Wayne after what he did at his festival? That's cap number one. But even if you wanted to entertain it, just like think about the shit that's happened over the last couple weeks. Absolutely not. The average working person that's looking at this situation, bro, it's not that they're stupid, it's just like they don't give a fuck. And why should they? Why should they? Y'all live in a world that is so far above the regular person, and you expect this person, the person that you might look at as right here, to peer into the information that is required to come to a concrete analysis of the situation that's gonna be in the news that affects you up here? They don't give a fuck, and why should they? If I'm a regular nigga and I'm just listening to Drake and Kendrick casually, and I don't really give a shit about anything outside of my immediate vicinity, which I shouldn't, you gonna blame me for not knowing? Who give a fuck about these niggas? I don't give a fuck. You are worried about the fact that you are probably being offered a lower amount this time as opposed to the amount that was from before? I guess I'm feeling bad, bro. Make a hit. I don't give a fuck about this. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? And they're not wrong. They're not wrong at all. I'm not gonna sit up here and correct the nigga. Well, actually, if you read the 10-page document that came out, you know, nobody give a fuck. What the fuck is a lifetime contract? How is that even legal? Returning the investment on what the label, you know what I'm saying, invested into you or gave you. You know what I'm saying? So when you ask for an advance, if you were to get a deal, you get an advance, they expect to make that money back off you. 9 times out of 10 though, the way most people's career goes, they're not making that back. So it's really like an exchange of us giving you this currency with you understanding the promise that if you don't pay us back, we're gonna own whatever it is that you come out with. And that's generally the position that most of these artists put themselves in until they're able to recoup, or until the label is able to recoup on their investment. That's what the label oftentimes is counting on. So for a guy like Drake, it's like he actually recouped on their investment. He actually gave them their money back, I think, at some point. And then he signed a new deal, but he had the opportunity not to. So I know at least in my mind, I think there was a point at which Drake fully gave the label their money back. And idiotically signed another deal. Or this is the point where he is negotiating the new deal, and is the new narrative now is that people are saying that they did this hit campaign so that he would be lower valued, so that he would have to go to them for a smaller deal. Which, if he has the opportunity to stay out, and never go back with UMG, brother, you have every opportunity to just go independent. Why do you still want a deal? Do you know the advantages that come with owning all your own shit? Being able to do whatever you want to do with your own shit? Collab with whoever you want to collab with, not answer to no fucking body? Do you know the power that comes with that? Like that's why I'm saying I'm fully okay with me missing something grand here. Because to me, it's obvious what the only option should be. If you want full control back. Fuck the money, you're rich enough right now. I don't know if it's the perception, like you're not gonna get that same backing, or is Drake afraid of something? Like, does he know something that we don't, in the sense that there's an advantage that he gets working with UMG that he won't get independent? I don't know, bro. The potential loss that you may take in the processes of going independent are fully worth whatever losses that you incur as a result. If the end result is that you get to take and recoup on all that you make from your releases. If the end result is that you get to walk away with 100% of your earnings minus your fees, what you have to pay your team and what you have to pay, you know what I'm saying, taxes and all of that. Like, if that's the end result, I don't know what other world you'd rather live in. Unless perception means that much, and there are that many advantages to being under UMG in the sense that maybe you do have more access if you're Drake to these conversations about being the biggest artist, and there is some push that he might be aware of that we don't know about, the thing that we've been speculating about for however many years, but he hasn't been transparent about that. So when something like this comes out, it's like, oh, we'd rather smear Drake's name than pay him what he wants. I don't get that narrative. Now, I'm not saying it couldn't be true, even though I doubt it. Why do that instead of get your guaranteed earnings back? I don't give a fuck what y'all think about Drake's music. If he asks for a $600 million deal right now, he's gonna recoup. He can drop ass for the next 5 years if he want to. Them niggas is gonna listen.
I have generated billions here. I want a piece.
I feel so conspiracy theorist when rhetoric like this comes across in the conversation, because it's just like, this is the same thing niggas used to say about Bill Cosby. Cosby started, you know, the roofie rumors started coming about. Then all of a sudden you heard Cosby was just about to buy NBC. Then they hit him with them allegations. It's like, maybe he did that shit. I don't know what you want me to take from a nigga saying that he wants slight ownership in a company. Because that's like UMG did that with Spotify. They don't own Spotify, but they own a stake in Spotify. I don't get what would be the issue if Drake did, if he did say that. Which there's no confirmation of, but if let's say Drake did say something like that, I want to own a piece of the pie. Maybe he asked for too big of a percentage. Okay, pedo allegations on you. We're gonna hype up this Kendrick song, even though they had no fucking idea that Kendrick was gonna say what he said in the song. Unless the new narrative after that is gonna be, well, UMG came to Kendrick after the fact and they told him to make up some pedophile allegations on Drake, Mr. Graham himself. And then we put it out, and then it went crazy. So Kendrick, we put the plant in his ear, like, bro, y'all realize how ridiculous y'all get with these theories after a certain point. I'm not saying y'all in the chat, but just in general, like, bro, how far are we gonna go into the theory before it's too much? That's why I don't like playing into thoughts that aren't like real. Anything I can't verify, because then we can go anywhere with it after a certain point. The way I look at it is the person that has been the biggest cash cow for the entire industry of whatever genre that they're in, I look at it as if they were able to get it, then other people have access to it. And if they haven't done it yet, then no one has it. That's generally how I look at it. I feel like if anybody would have had an ownership in a business like UMG, it would have been Eminem. So if he has that, or if he doesn't have that, then nobody else has it by default. And nobody else will get it by default. This is the fear. This is the fear of collaborating with any business, especially if you make them a bunch of money. When do you have this conversation? Even when you think that you're able to have this conversation, it'll still never be enough. Money talks always, but sometimes it doesn't. You think about Drake and his history with a company like UMG. It's like, okay, I've made y'all over $1 billion easily, and I will continue to make you even more money. The fear in making a business this much revenue and still not having access to the ceiling of the company is insane. If that's what Drake asked for. That's what Drake asked for. Drake, and the business move that he did when it came to streaming, the deal that Drake got initially when it came to streaming, I feel like was all the leverage that he would have needed to have this conversation then. Off the back of whatever issues that they've been having, when Drake is in a, I won't call it a downward slope, but when he's at the lowest in terms of sales that he's ever been, not saying that that's still not impressive what he's been able to do, is the wrong time to have that conversation, obviously. But in 2015, 2016 era Drake would have been the time to have this conversation about when or if I can own a piece of the pie. I mean, I know y'all saying it was too late, but at the same time, it's like, you also got to understand, like, you gonna tell me a thing about business and I'm off the back of Hotline Bling? How the fuck am I supposed to focus on that many things? Like, socially speaking, bro, I got so many other things going on. Like, how am I focused on the fact that I'm at the peak of my career right now? How do I even know that this is the peak of my career? You don't know that. I'm trying to afford the understanding of, like, yo, imagine me being at my peak and not knowing it. At least my peak commercially, my peak. If you're reading this, is too late. Views, Hotline Bling. These all are moments that came back to back to back. The diss battle with Meek, back to back to back. Drake's run from these in this era was solidified, one of the greatest runs of hip hop history. If you're Drake, how do you know that that's the peak? You could not tell a nigga that's in his prime that the best years are right now. You cannot say that. And niggas, the next thing is gonna say, well, start your own business. This is the same frustration that Kanye was talking about when he was on Sway. This is why he was so angry. And I get it to a certain degree. You know, you can't talk to some niggas about this. I understand it, but at the same time, it's like, you will never be in there until you're allowed. I don't see them putting, like, enforcing the additional quote-unquote bottage for Kendrick. And if you wanted to take the whole bot conversation out, that would be fair. But I do feel like if they're looking at analytics as the reason for what it is that they decide Drake gets in his negotiation, in his deal, I feel like that's fair. But I don't feel like that is this intentional plot against Drake to bring his value down on his potential exit. I just don't feel like that. I don't. But again, if Drake's got evidence, provide it. I want to see it. I don't know when that $400 million deal took place. At the most money that you've ever seen in your entire life, am I turning that down to potentially lose the deal at $400 million? I don't have that level of foresight. I would say 99% of people offered that amount at the size and era that Drake was in at the time that he was offered it. I'm not thinking about I'm worth more than this, and there's not going to be a point in the future where I'm not satisfied with the deal that I get 5 years from now. It should be up for consideration. The team around you should be able to tell you that. Maybe they're all pressuring you to do it too. 400 M's, where else are you going to get this? See, the issue, unfortunately, too, Drake decided he want to go independent. You know what I'm saying? From this point forward. This is where your public perception and your reputation is going to help you the most. Because when you go independent, other niggas are going to support you. Now, Drake got a couple, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to call them dick riders, but Drake got a couple dick riders, okay? I just saw the statement Black Boy JB came out with talking about Drake. I always support you. But in this ecosystem, no disrespect to any other artist out there that's co-signing Drake, a Black Boy JB co-sign means absolutely fucking nothing when it comes to power and building a company that you want to one day be as big as a UMG. It means absolutely nothing. If Meek Mill come out and say, I'm your friend, it don't mean shit to the public. You've destroyed. This is where the issue with the Joe Budden clip that you just showed me is. This is the issue of the previous thing. Now when you need the public support because you're not getting the industry backing, you don't have it. Because look at the way you play. You play niggas dirty. You do niggas foul. Who gonna have your back when you leave? Academics? When you go independent, who's gonna show up on your label? Who gonna be underneath you, ready to co-sign? I tell y'all all the time, you gotta pay attention to how you treat people when you're up. I don't pay attention to how people do people. I do pay attention to how people do people when they don't have anything, but you gotta pay attention to people and really analyze how they treat people that they can't get anything from. When they at their peak, when they at their top, like that's when you see what a person is and who they are. And Drake, unfortunately, has shown the people too many times that he's more close to what Joe may have described him as than not. Then you throw in the then you throw in the PDF allegations, and that you like young girls, and that you treat people like shit, and that you disrespect women, and that you don't care about this group and this group and this group. Like, I don't know how you fix that. You don't fix that. He's literally, if you go this way, you're fucked. If you stay here, be a slave, I guess. Thug and 21 cosign is cool for a couple people that like to listen to that type of music, but long term, I don't think it does much.
But
you know how they did Bobby Shmurda when he came out. You know what I'm saying? Like, niggas knew that Bobby Shmurda was gonna put out 2 classic albums back to back. Immediately after he got released, he dropped one song. It was ass, and then niggas forgot about him. It's like he don't even exist no more. Bobby Shmurda's completely off the face of the fucking planet now. I don't know what the fuck the nigga doing. And that's cool. Do what you do in silence and in peace. Do your thing. Thug getting released. The traction off Thug's release already is dwindling down. Unless he drop that first day out or he do the whole, oh, you know what I'm saying? This is what I was doing when I was in there introspective record. Niggas gonna forget about him too. I don't want that reality for Thug though. I know if he keep dropping music, people still gonna listen. They still gonna come out with it. They still gonna be with him. They are. But long term, who's got the most power? Who do I need to connect with? And the other nigga that you really could have done it with, you completely permanently burn that bridge. I'm gonna be honest, bro. J. Cole co-signed don't mean shit. I love him. Think he got a great spirit. I love his rollout for the Friday Night Lights and the mixtape shit that he got going on. And potential re-release of his old records. I think the marketing campaign that J. Cole has been going on for re-releasing his old shit has been phenomenal. It's been fantastic for J. Cole. A J. Cole co-sign. What does that do? A J. Cole this is my friend. What does that do? I don't think it does anything. I'm sorry. Drake has no support. The older you get, you relate to Drake less, especially the everyday regular person. We ain't going to Turks and living it up. We got bills. The older I've gotten, the more access I've been given. And so there are certain things that Drake has been talking about that I'm like, yo, I kind of get where you coming from. But I would never say that. Y'all remember the streamer 9 to 5 thing that they had going around, the conversation shit? Even though I'm not a part of that group because I still work. I would never say that. What do I gain from telling people that at least are economically beneath me the problems that I suffer or go through as if they're going to understand it? And then I'm confused as to why a layer of my music is missing them. And why they may identify more with Kendrick Lamar talking about how much of a better person he's become as a result of dealing with his trauma over the last 5 years. Why wouldn't I think that more people would have a deep-seated, you know what I'm saying, connection with shit like that as opposed to, oh yeah, I just went to Calico and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? I went to Dubai and I just shot on this girl's chest because I felt it was fun. Like, it just was what it was. I'm not saying that's what happened in Dubai, but you know what I'm saying? It's rumors. It's rumors and shit. So, at least to me, I feel like I've grown wisdom to a point where, yeah, there are more advantages as I've gotten older, but at the same time, it's not for everybody's ears. John works at UMG. I mean, shit, maybe one day, y'all hiring? I drop everything. It's going down in here. Give me like I'm not even asking for what Drake asking for. Give me like a cool like 6.8 100 million, and then we good, we chilling. You know what I'm saying? UMG probably the best people in the world. They've been looking out for black people since 1952. Y'all know that? I'll write down a whole script. I'll tell y'all the low on like my burner account on Twitter and shit, but like I would like to assume I would make the right decisions, but you put $400 million in my face and I don't know this is my peak too, I'm going 9 times out of 10. Me now? I'm not that prideful. And I don't want to say it because you're not supposed to say it. I'm a better person than Drake. 99% of y'all are better people than Drake. And so when you look at it, it's like if I needed to go independent, I would have established connections that would carry me while I'm trying to build my independent business. I would have established connections with other businesses to support me in my endeavors beyond this point, to a point where I don't fear being by myself, even at the risk of previous label suppression. I'm good. I put the work in. My catalog speaks for itself. I'm chilling. I don't have to be a rapper my whole life if I don't want to. I don't have an attachment to the ego in the alter ego that I created when I was young. I don't have to be attached to that. I can be whatever I want to be. If I'm looking at it as a business, even though I still got a love for it, like if I got to step away, I got to step away. I put a label out independent and I will develop an artist and I'll make my money off of him. Despite the fact that I understand that's wrong, I will give him a higher percentage and I will give him what he wants and I will treat him way better than UMG treated me. I get to rewrite this story to be whatever I want it to be. If I'm good. If I'm good. I don't think you need to outright beat the giant. I think the way people approach like conglomerates like, you know what I'm saying, Universal is wrong. They think that they're getting in a ring and it's going to be a fight. You're going to get knocked out every time. But you can poison them. You don't befriend the giant. You slowly strip power and influence and resources away. And that requires you to build infrastructures, sometimes independently, and give an avenue to the newer artists that are coming out an additional option where everything doesn't act as a direct funnel to these people because they happen to be the best or they're offering the most money. They're offering the most because there's no competition. UMG would be under far much more pressure if there was more labels that had the size and the backing, but they got like a monopoly on the entire music industry. And this is as a result of people not knowing when they're in their prime and the power that they have to walk away or get whatever money they can and then abandon whatever ego that they have and say, now it's time for me to nurture whoever comes next and whoever comes after me. They still think it's about them. We still got 40-year-old rappers, chat. I'm going to be looking at Kendrick Lamar and Future and Drake and J. Cole different in the next few years if they don't have any talent that's at least at the level that they were 10 years ago. I'm going to be looking at them strange. They should realize, you know what I'm saying, that this is it's coming to a head, bro. Start thinking about who coming after you. Do you want these people that you answering to be in power for however long? And that's what make it feel even worse, because like I said, I don't look at Drake doing this as honorable because you doing this because you lost. You're mad. You're angry. I don't know what he does. I don't see it going anywhere in terms of ownership. But will he get what he deserves for his music and his catalog from them? Most likely not. Should he understand that? Of course. Should he start his own shit? 100%. Will he have the support to do so from the industry that he's been low-key violating behind the scenes? Probably not. Is he going to step away from his own ego enough to realize that I should start working on my next Drake? Does he have the capacity to look at himself, look at the thing, look at this beyond that? Hopefully.